Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about classification of hotels. When we are talking about hotels, technically the first thing which comes in our mind is the entity, an enterprise, a setup which gives you a distinct set of luxury or an experience, or it's a recreation of a whole set of services customer is being enticed to take. Hotels are usually being classified according to their room sizes, their target markets, with their star categories, their level of services, their ownership and affiliations. When we would be going further with the slides, we'll understand more about how target markets shape up, how companies are being able to place their products according to the target markets, and according to the level of services, how they have been able to distinct themselves in their ratings. As we understand, hotel is basically an establishment, a place, a home, which is away from home, a facility, an entity, which is providing accommodation, meals, and other services for travelers. It could be business travelers or leisure travelers in the form of tourists, by day and by night. So technically, it is a facility which is available. It's a place where all the amenities would be available for the specific need of customer. Whenever we are describing about the hotel property, its classification, its distinction, we are always enticed by the parameters which are required to identify the hotel property as. Generally, we see the hotels follow basic principle at the time of their establishment. Either they develop the hotel which is based on theme, or they are based on location, or they are based on target market, or they are based on a size of property. Let's understand what do we mean by theme. We must have often felt that the properties which are inspired by the culture and heritage has a typical type of theme. They are either an old palace which has been converted into a hotel, or any property which has been developed to give a look of a palace. So we can say it is a theme property. Theme property doesn't really mean it has to be a castle or it has to be an old palace. It is the look we are trying to give to a hotel. So it could be, let's say we are talking about a Moroccan theme. Morocco is a place. So any hotel which developed on this particular theme anywhere across the world wants to give the feel to a customer, would like to bring the interior artifacts which are supporting that particular theme. Henceforth, we are talking about that particular hotel being developed on that very theme. Often the hotels are based on locations as well. You would find the beach properties all across the world. So you can never say the beach is available only in India or the beach is available only in Bahamas. Beaches are there because seashores are spread all across the world. So wherever there would be a development or wherever there would be a habitat, there would be a development of a city or an expansion of a city, you will always find a beach type property. So we can talk about it as a based on location. Then we can talk about based on target market. When we are talking about target market, it is something like there are business capitals in the world where the type of tourist would be a business traveler. So, the hotels would be developed in that very format who can accommodate the business travelers, which are developed to suit their individual need. And last but not the least, it is based on size of property, which would further be divided into 1-star category, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, 4-star deluxe, 5-star, 5-star deluxe, and at times AAA or maybe certified as 7-star property. As we will move further, we will realize there are various types of hotels we'll talk about. Maybe you will get to hear this for the first time when we would be talking about boatels or rotels or floatels, forest hotels, resort properties, resort hotels, airport hotels, suburban hotels, or city center downtown hotels. Let's come to boatels. Boatels, with its name, what can we figure out what boatels could be? I guess you guessed it right. Hotels are basically a type of hotel which is formed on board. So technically, we can talk about they are sailing hotels. Dhow Cruise, which is available at Dubai, is a very famous example for a hotel. So hotel can have various other examples in the form of Grand Sparrow Wharf Hotel, which is in London, Lasburg, it's in Brampton, Modern Boat, it's in Berlin, Germany, and HT Houseboats, it's in Poland. In India, shikaras are also form of hotels. Routers is a form of hotels which you can understand a tram being converted into a hotel, or the hotel which could be on move. So in India, Palace of Wales, which is a train which has been converted into a heritage hotel kind of property, which is always on move, can be a form of hotel. Then comes floaters. Floater is basically an installation of living quarters on top of rafts or semi-submersible platforms. Floatels are used as hotels on rivers or in harbor areas, or as accommodation of working people, especially in the offshore oil industry. These days, when we are talking about variety of hotels available in the world, these are certain specific type of hotels which are not commonly available, but they are picking up a lot of importance among new backpackers and new travelers, where they are trying to be on expedition and trying to explore new type of hotels. Forest hotels are the properties which are giving you the facility or the experience to be close to nature, to be close to wildlife, to get to see the sanctuaries. These hotels are often being developed under centuries so that people can be close to nature, they have an experience to be close to wildlife, and henceforth they can enjoy the nature being at its purest form. Some of the finest, best rainforest hotels which have been developed in the world are in Amazon. Amazon, as you all know, it's the biggest. Amazon rainforest is widely known for its diversity. So people who want to be close to the nature are always find their hotspot as a forest hotels to be part of. Then comes the resort properties. It is often considered as a full-service lodging facility, often luxurious, intended primarily for vacationers and usually located in places frequently for relaxation or recreation. So technically, we are trying to create an experience for the customer which is very enticing in itself, and customer is trying to be part of that experience. So the hotel properties are getting developed at beaches, at seashores, so that they can provide a beautiful scenic beauty, or maybe around historic areas, or ski parks, or spa areas, so that the customer is having a different experience by being part of that particular property. Airport hotel is a very, very widely used concept these days. It doesn't necessarily mean airport hotel has to locate on airport only. It is very popular among business travelers because for airport hotel, the guideline goes it should be located up to 5 miles away. So it comes very, very handy for business travelers to go and stay with the airport hotel at the time of their transits. Then comes suburban hotels. Suburban hotels are being developed by the hotels that are part of a bigger city. Like for example, one city already has a property like JW Marriott, and the city has a possibility to come up with one more small property of its own. So the company can decide to bring a smaller property, maybe in the form of a Fairfield, or maybe any other junior property which can cater to smaller section of audiences. So a hotel that is somewhat smaller than the city center hotel. So city center hotel can be typically of 250 to 500 rooms. So this suburban hotel will come with a smaller proposition of, let's say, 100 to 150 rooms. But it will have bars, restaurants and other amenities like city center hotel. So suburban hotel, we can talk about a smaller hotel of the same chain available in the same city. Then comes city center downtown hotels, like we just spoke about, suburban hotels, which are further part of city center hotels. So city center hotels are the main property, main establishment which is catering to the city for its amenities with the best of its services to offer. Then comes motels. This category goes based on location. Okay, so when we're talking about motels, what motels are? Motels are considered to be a roadside hotel which will have primary facilities available for the motorist, typically having the rooms arranged in low blocks with parking directly outside. So the backpackers, so the people who are traveling on road, they can have boarding and lodging facility at that very property. Usually motels are not developed in a very fancy format. They are developed in a basic format which are catering to basic bed and breakfast or bed and dinner needs. Then we need to understand how hotels are categorically divided on the basis of clientele or the guest. So primary distinction we can talk about, either the hotel is a business hotel or the hotel is a leisure hotel. If it is a business hotel, we can talk about bread and breakfast hotels, we can talk about motels, we can talk about suburban hotels, being the primary target. But when we are talking about leisure hotels, we will often talk about resort properties or very high-end luxury properties being part of it. This slide talks about the type of plans which are available with the hotel. As you all must have read somewhere about the European plan, continental plan, American plan, or modified American plan. So technically what it is? It is the type of plan which is being served with any business hotel or any leisure hotel all across the world. These are standard formats. So any person who is taking the accommodation with any room property all across the world can have access to these type of plans available with the hotel in the form of services. Further, we see the distinction in the hotels. Hotels are often divided in the level of service. So when we are talking about level of service, we are technically trying to understand the pocket of the customer. So it's a very famous saying which goes, anything would be sweeter depends upon the amount of sugar in it. So when we are talking about sugar, it is basically we are talking about the monetary input. We are talking about the investment from the customer's pocket. All the amenities would be based on that, and categorically the hotels are also being developed like that. We can talk about the economy or the budget hotels which cater to the medium income segment or the customer who is looking forward to invest. Then comes the medium scale or a mid-market hotels. Medium scale hotels or mid-market hotels, we can talk about some of the leisure properties being part of it and the business category hotels as being part of it as well. Often the luxury hotels we are talking about, the 4-star deluxe properties or 5-star deluxe properties or 7-star properties being part of it. So with this, we can talk about a hotel service level is measured by the amount of actual and perceived consideration a guest can reasonably expect to receive. So technically it all depends upon the investment, right? Or a consumer perceive a value in receiving quality service with the amount of money invested. So in the hotel industry, the differences in service levels is often tied to incremental increase in cost. So here categorically the cost is everywhere involved to expect the level of services and the type of hotel property. Then comes the other type of hotels which are being categorized with the length of stays. Generally this type of hotels has been developed recently or often been available on Airbnb or maybe at Oyo Rooms in India. This has been developed keeping in mind the need of a customer. Usually with the business travelers we see, they will have the option to stay with the hotel property for let's say a month, for let's say 3 months, or let's say 6 months, or let's say for a year. For a year it goes very tedious to stay in a hotel with the same room, static infra, same style. So there are other type of hotels which are being developed which cater to this particular segment of the customers. So here in the category, the first comes are the transient hotels. So what are the transient hotels? Typically, they are the rest houses, government guest houses, etc., considered as the best example. So in these hotels, one is not allowed to stay for a very long time, as these hotels are very economical and are patronized by the employees, either on transfer or on tour or vacation. So technically we see these are the type of hotels which have been developed for the particular segment of employees by the company or being hired by a particular company for their employees only. As the need of a business traveler can vary depends upon the stay or the type of work they will be into. So companies have residential hotels and apart hotels. When we're talking about residential hotels, they allow long stay for the consumer with the hotel. At the same time, lot of time companies do hire the companies who have certain set of apartments which are fully furnished, and they give all the facility to the customers. So there are facility management companies like JLL in place who will have certain apartments wherein they would be taking care of each and every need and facility of a customer and convert those apartments just like a hotel room or set of rooms or hotel suite for the need of a customer. But again, here in this case as well, it's a hotel kind of proposition. Now the third in queue would be the semi-residential hotel. So when we're talking about semi-residential hotel, we often get too confused by this term. What is a semi-residential is? So semi-residential is basically, these are the type of hotels which are located throughout the country these days. Here the guests staying in these hotels are required to pay room rent on daily basis. So let's understand how we will differentiate the residential hotels with semi-residential hotels. Residential hotels can have a package like pay for a month or pay for 3 months together or pay for 6 months together, wherein the semi-residential hotels, which is the format being followed by every hotel all across the world, wherein the consumer or wherein the guest can stay and pay on daily basis, pay for a day and stay with the hotel property. So the hotel may offer a special allowance on room rents to these guests. Here comes the hotels which are based on a target market. When we are talking about target market, they are further being divided into commercial hotels or convention hotels, resort properties, suite hotels, bed and breakfast hotels, extended stay casino hotels or casino hotels. We can have timeshare hotels, condominiums, service apartments and corporate lodges being part of the target market. When we are talking about target market, we can identify these hotels are divided into various type of clienteles who are going to stay in these type of hotels. Let's take the example of convention hotels. So it is technically a standalone municipal facility designed to accommodate trade shows and conventions. The term is increasingly used to refer to smaller meeting facilities attached to hotels. So here we can talk about conventions being developed in the format which is to suit the business travelers. So here we can talk about these hotels can have up to 2,000 rooms as well in addition to accommodation. They provide extensive meeting and function spaces for holding conventions. When we are talking about conventions, it means we are talking about trade fair kind of exhibition. There are banquet areas within and around the hotel complex. Most of them provide in-house laundry, a business center, airport shuttle, 24 hours room service, and are often in close proximity to convention centers and other convention hotels. So technically, we are talking about a very, very big setup which is facilitating the trade shows or business conferences. Further, the hotels are being divided into size and number of properties. You can have small hotels, medium-sized hotels, large hotels, very large hotels, mega hotels, and chain hotels being part of it. Let's say here we are talking about the hotel size. So it is directly connected with the room numbers. So we are talking about the hotels which are under 200 rooms or between 200 to 400 rooms, 400 to 700 rooms or more than 700 rooms. As the room size will be high, the target audiences would be different. The level of services would be different, and at the same time, the ownership and affiliations will be different, which as we will move further, we would be learning under very large hotels, mega hotels, and chain hotels. How this consortium or how this arrangement is being developed so that such big companies can evolve and be part of this hospitality sector in a very, very aggressive format. The level of services could be the world-class service we are talking about, or a mid-range service or a budget service. Every service will further distinct the price band they would be placing themselves according to the customer pocket size. Further, these hotels are also being classified into the operating periods. Some are seasonal, some are year-round, and some are two seasonals. Seasonal we can definitely understand by its name that certain hotels which cannot be operated due to the weather conditions or due to the extreme climatic conditions. So these are seasonal hotels. There would be hotel property or most of them are across the world, which will have the year-round facility of check-in and check-out. Then comes the two seasonal hotels. Two seasonal hotel is a new concept in the hospitality sector, where the seasonal hotels try to accommodate themselves based on the natural factors and institutional factors and create an opportunity to operate twice in a year. So thereby they can have target business or target audiences being catered to twice in a year. So henceforth they are being known as two seasonal hotels. All the type of hotel will have direct and indirect impact on the tourism and seasonality. So seasonality often cater to differentiation in the type of services which is being catered in that type of hotel. It has its negative as well as positive aspects. When we are talking about positive, it gives opportunity for ecological and community recovery, which provide during the off-season. At the same time, the negative impact could be to the profits, the attraction of investment capital and the employment situation. So technically, when there would be an off-season, that time company will not be able to make any money out of it. So the runtime cost will be a loss. Let's talk about popular lodging properties across India. We have heard a lot about dharamshalas, sarais, houseboats, hostels, pilgrim hostels, clubs, circuit houses, paying guest accommodation. So this is also a type of accommodation which is available, but this is not a categorically competition to hotel industry. At the same time, this is a different industry in the accommodation, wherein the lodging facility is available at a cheaper price. To move further in it, we will identify about the tourist camps, camping grounds, travelers' lodge, dormitories, retiring rooms, log cabins, etc. and holiday villas. So technically, as we try to learn more about the hotels, we identify that hotels can have various type of formats available all across the world. But every format will have certain set of facilities or certain services. In exchange to, there would be a price involved. And depending on the price, the customer look forward to perceive the services. Then comes the ownership type. Ownership type of the hotel. It could be an independent hotel, it could be a chain or group hotel, or it could be a private hotel. Independent hotel is often run by an entrepreneur or maybe by a company who is trying to develop a hotel with his vision and his expertise. He will have, or that company will have, its own parameters or its own style of serving and facility. So the customer will not try to get into that property based on the goodwill or word of mouth. The customer will choose that property based on the actuals, wherein in the chain or group hotels, these hotels enjoy a legacy of goodwill, word of mouth, reference. So these hotels are being operated by professional groups all across the world who will have the professional workforce being deployed by these groups to take care of each and every department of that hotel. Then come private hotels, which are privately being managed by companies. As we move further, we have experienced that hotels are often being recognized with the star value to it. So let's understand what the star value talks about, or what the standard classification by the government committee talks about. So here we will always feel that there are certain types or certain names we must have often heard, like 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, 5 star, 5 star deluxe, heritage, heritage classic, or maybe heritage grand. They are based on the size, further location, then clientele, then duration, then level of services, then ownership type, and then alternative accommodations as well. Like for example, in the 1-star category type, we are expecting size to be small, location to be a downtown or maybe a localite. Clientele could be commercial who's looking forward to have a bed and breakfast, amenities only. Duration would be commercial or short term. Level of service, medium, or ownership type could be proprietary ownership. And the alternative accommodation can look like Sarai. When I'm saying alternative arrangement, so it means the customer at times compare between a 1-star property and a Sarai type of property in India, and henceforth they can choose one among that. The second in line comes the 2-star hotel. The size would be medium, location would be suburban, clientele would be transient. Duration of stay could be as comparison to resort. Level of services could be upmarket. Ownership type could be proprietary or could be franchise. And the alternative could be a dharamshala. 3-star. The size would be comparatively large. Location could be in close vicinity with airport. This I'm trying to identify the close proximities so that you can understand by its name how the 3-star hotel would look like. It will have suite. It will have good rooms in comparison to 1-star and 2-star accommodation. The duration would be semi-residential. Level of services would be budget. At the same time, it would be by franchisee or in the management contract with any big company. The alternative accommodation could be a circuit house or a dark bungalow. Fourth in line comes 4-star property. It is comparatively very large. The location could be a resort or a motel or a flotel. Clientele would be bed and breakfast or timeshare or condominium. Duration of stay would be residential. It could be semi-residential as well. Level of services would definitely be upmarket. Ownership type would be timeshare, condominium. An alternative would be a youth hostel or a yatri niwas or a forest lodge. Then comes your 5-star hotel. Now from 5-star hotel, or it could be 5-star deluxe or heritage classic or grand. The customer type or a clientele type would be condominium, or they are looking forward to have casino facility, or would be a conference facility, or would be a convention facility, or at times maybe just a motel facility. So technically, all the up-segment clientele of the society who is looking forward to have certain needs can accommodate themselves with this particular standard type of hotel. With the understanding of the classification of hotel, every hotel is developed according to the expectation of the clientele. It has always been developed keeping in mind what customer want. They are there to navigate the confused world regarding the servings available. They are there to create the offerings. They are there to accommodate with the choice of offerings customer is looking forward to accommodate themselves with. With this note, thank you so much for today.